to this week's episode of the Part of Your Broadway World Podcast, where Disney and Broadway intersect. Today we have a very special guest. We're doing another Disney episode, and this one is another Disney X cast member, but in the PR side. So welcome Ashley to the podcast, everyone.
Hi,
Hi.
nice to officially meet you.
Nice to officially meet you too.
I'm Ashley.
I'm Haley.
Nice. Okay, nice to meet you.
I guess nice to meet you. We met through Patrick actually. 'Cause
Yeah.
we both follow Patrick. We're both friends with Patrick.
Yeah, I used to work with him at Disney. That's how I know him. So,
Yeah. Oh.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what you did at Disney then.
Yeah, so my last job at Disney, I was actually it was a conservation content specialist.
Mhm.
So I was working with like the Disney studios and creating like marketing synergy products where it was educational activities for kids. So it was like tied to movies.
Mhm.
One of the first ones I did was like Frozen 2. We did Mulan, The One and Only Ivan. And it was like just like 5 or 6 activities that were just to encourage little kids to get outside and want to spend time in nature
Mhm.
while also, promoting the films and getting the kids excited about the movies so the parents would go take them. So that was and I also wrote scripts for there was these shorts on the Disney Junior channel. A lot of when I left, they were using Tots, which is one of the shows on there, to talk about baby animals. So I would write the scripts and do the filming out in the parks because I was doing the filming at Disney's Animal Kingdom. But yeah, that was the last job I had there. I was at Disney off and on for like almost 10 years. So I've had a lot of jobs there, but that was my last one.
Because I read on your TikTok, it's like you were like the PR.
Yeah, I was public. So that worked closely with like public affairs, public relations, because it was like essentially public relations for the animals, right? Like there was a whole team that was focused on like the content of animals in film and television. Like one of the last ones that they were working on before I left was Lady and the Tramp, and how like the dogs were perceived in the film and was it appropriate, and you just all these things that you would never really think about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like public affairs for the animals. And then I worked at Disneyland. I lived in California for about a year, and I was on their public affairs team, on their media relations team. I was the intern that launched their Instagram account, and then I helped launch Josh D'Amaro's Instagram account as well before, when he was the president of Disneyland.
And because I also know, because I think I was in your live yesterday, wasn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday. And then I also found out that you and I are both Michiganders.
Yeah. Do you live in Michigan now?
Yeah, I'm still in Michigan.
Oh, where about?
I'm in Kalamazoo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew that already because Elvis. Yeah, I always think about Elvis and Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss Michigan. I miss it. I do. But I'm in Orlando, so because my husband, he still works for Disney, so.
I mean, Orlando's great though.
It's just far away from family. That's the hard part, It's just like it's literally just me and my husband here, so.
Yeah. So like, do you still visit Disney often then?
Yeah, it's very fortunate that my husband works at Disney, so we can get in. It's included with his benefit package, so we do go pretty frequently. My son has autism, so he does struggle with the large crowds. But luckily, I've like learned the good time to go, especially the time of day to go for him, and the places that he feels most comfortable where it's not as crowded and quiet. So.
Oh, I never even knew that your husband worked at Disney.
Yeah.
I never knew.
We actually met working at Disney, kind of like he was working at Disney. So this was 2015 when we met through mutual friends, and it was because we worked at Disney. So yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, it's funny because like that's exactly what Patrick said, that like how he met Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
crazy.
it's so crazy that like people that are in relationships that I know met through Disney.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember, so I started out in the college program, and I
Mhm.
remember like my first day, we got all shuffled onto a bus, and the bus takes you to like casting and all that stuff to get all the paperwork out of the way. And I remember the man that was like, like leading us there. He was all like, "Yeah, I met my wife sitting on a bus on my way for my first day of my CP. So you never know who you're sitting next to." I'm like, "Oh yeah, right. Like I'm gonna meet my
Right.
husband working at Disney." And then I did. So
Yeah.
I just
Yeah. Oh my God. Because when I talked to Patrick, he was like a character attendant, and then
yeah.
Sarah was a character, and I think they said they met through the college program too.
Yeah, it's crazy because actually I knew Sarah before I knew Patrick.
Hmm.
Um, because my roommate and her were really good friends.
Hmm.
So that's the other thing too. Like when you know somebody, like if you know one person in Disney Entertainment, you know everybody, even though like I might not ever meet that person. Like it's just crazy because like I knew Sarah in like 2013, but I didn't meet Patrick until like 2014 because he was my attendant like all the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So like, were you and Sarah in the college program together then?
I don't know. We might have actually been in it at the same time, but I didn't meet her until after my college program ended.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, how'd you meet her then? Because
Yeah. She literally was just sitting in my apartment one day with my roommate.
oh,
That's how I met
really?
her. Yeah.
Really? That's so
Yes.
funny. That's
Yeah.
so funny.
Because he was a parade performer. Um, he was a dancer in the parade, and I met her literally in my living room.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Like
Like when they say it's a small world, it really is, but it's also a huge world because
I
there's
know.
people that were there when I was there that I've never met, but I've heard of. It's
Mhm.
weird. It's like its
Yeah, I
own
know.
little tiny world. It's kind of crazy.
No, I know. Like that's telling Patrick that exact same thing. I was literally telling Patrick last night that exact same thing. I was
It's
like,
nuts.
it's
Yeah.
nuts. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. But it's kind of cool in a way because there's like
Mhm.
people that know about me that I've never met, but I also know about them and we've never met before, but like we're like friends because we have mutual friends. It's weird.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I mean, like I met Hooch, which I think you've been in the lot in our group lives
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Yeah, so you know who he is. I met Hooch first, and then I met Patrick through Hooch, and then I just met everyone instantly, and we just all like clicked.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you've been heard about this, but they're trying to ban TikTok.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm just
did see
like,
that. I
so
know.
I'm
I'm
just
like, I just like got used to it. And
yeah,
so many people like make their money off of it.
yeah, I
That's the hard
know.
thing. Cause I mean, honestly, like I like you have Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, but you don't really like connect with people.
Yeah,
Like I feel
yeah.
like it's more impersonal. Whereas
Hmm.
like TikTok, you really can get to know people and people become your friends through it.
Yeah, I know. And uh, like you said, like people make their money off TikTok. Like this is
Yeah.
their livelihood they're trying to take
Exactly.
away.
Yeah, it's nuts. It really is. And I don't know. It just I don't it's not like I don't fully understand like what they're doing or their motivation
Mm.
behind it, but at
This
the
is
same time it's like out of TikTok's control.
yeah, but this is like their fourth time trying to do it.
Yeah, that's
So I
true.
don't think it's gonna stick because this is their literal fourth time trying to do that.
Yeah. You're
So
gonna tick off millions of people, like that's a good idea.
and I saw a video like people like they've gotten like billions of phone calls from people and like emails from people, pissed off people, by the way.
Yeah. Because I mean,
Of
even so, there's like the micro influencers, but there's also like
yeah.
the macro influencers where it's
Mhm.
like their entire livelihood is on TikTok. Like, and
Mhm.
without it would like it's just crazy too, like that not like job like, I guess like jobs and careers can be like taken away that quickly.
Mhm. Yeah, Congress doesn't know what they're doing. That's all I gotta say.
Typical. It's typical.
I'm getting political on this podcast, but it's my podcast.
I mean, it's
Do it.
TikTok too. Like, I feel like, I
TikTok.
mean, this is so silly. Like, how is TikTok political, you know?
Right,
That's what's
exactly.
crazy. If we're choosing to sign away all of our information and security, that's our stupid fault, you know?
Yeah. And here's the thing too is Temu, you know that
Oh
shopping
my
app Temu?
gosh,
That's
yes.
worse.
That is so much worse. I swore up and down I will never use it ever. Because it's just like it is so much worse. And why are they sending it to you for so cheap?
Yeah,
Like, how
exactly.
is it so cheap?
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Like Facebook has been stealing information for years.
Right.
Twitter, aka X, has for years, probably. I
Yeah.
hate calling it X. I'm calling it Twitter. I don't
Oh, I know.
care
Out of
about X.
spite. It's out of
Out of
spite.
spite. I don't care. Like
I'm with you.
Twitter's what Twitter is. X is
Yes.
stupid.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
What does X even mean?
I don't know. It's like they literally just like decided to X out the Twitter name out of spite.
Like they just picked a letter out of the alphabet. It was like, okay, we'll do X.
And like the logo is so like corporate, it's not even fun anymore.
No, I like the little bird. I
Me
like the little Twitter
too.
bird.
Yeah, especially because like that was like in what Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet. Like the
Yeah.
little birds tweeting around, taking the tweets. Like that's so
Yeah.
cute. I like that
Yeah.
visual. I don't know what takes my message now. Nothing. You know, not a little bird.
Little
Well,
tiny
that's
little tiny X's.
well, that's kind of cute. I'm just like walking around, I guess.
Little tiny floating X's. Just
It's not the same as a bird though. Sad.
same as a bird. I mean, if they ever changed Instagram's logo, I'm gonna be pissed.
I mean, how many times like I remember the old brown logo?
Yeah.
That one was at least they changed it to something a little prettier now.
Yeah, I mean, but if they change it again, I'm gonna be kind of mad.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like the app updates, and you're like, wait, what is this? I hate
Right,
when they
yeah.
update it and they change too much at once, and I'm like, excuse me, I don't know how to do my life now. Like,
Well, now on Instagram they have like this like AI thing now. I'm like,
oh, really?
what is this? Yeah. Let's see if I can pull it up and show you.
I didn't even know that.
Like if you go in your chats, there's like a little like I don't know if I can show you, but there's like a little circle
Oh, geez.
in the search next to the search bar.
I'm gonna have to look at that because I had no idea. Honestly, if AI existed when I worked in corporate, my life would have been so easy. It's so easy.
AI
Well,
taking over the
easier.
jobs.
That's,
AI is
maybe just helping. Let's help. They can help. I like having it
help.
help, but I don't
Yeah.
like that it's taking over. That's too like, I don't know, Wally for me, but I liked Wally.
Wally.
He's so cute.
Oh dear God, please! I don't want to go to Wally. I don't want to be Wally. I don't
Oh,
want
I
to.
don't either. No, but I mean, Wally's cute. I don't like robots, though. They kind of scare me, but Wally is an okay robot.
Wally's an okay robot though. He's cute. He's
Yeah.
adorable.
Yeah. I can get behind a Wally.
There's like this thing. I'll have to send it to you if I can find it on through Instagram, and I'll send it to you. But like, you can buy like it's like $200, but it's like a little tiny robot, and you can paint it like get it painted as Wally. So you have a little
Oh,
teeny tiny robot that
oh,
helps.
that's so cute. I feel like my son would love that.
So cute. I'm like, I don't want it, but I don't want to spend $200 on it on that.
Yeah,
I
no.
almost feel like it's worth it.
Yeah, especially like it behind you, you could just have him like roaming around in your videos.
Oh my God, I feel like that'd be worth it though.
It'd be real cute. Just,
It'd be real cute.
make $200 on TikTok before it gets shut down so you can buy it.
It's not gonna get shut down.
I,
I think they're talking out of their asses.
I think they're just trying to scare, Bite Dance or whatever it's called.
Because I don't know if you watched the hearing. None of them knew what they were talking about. They kind of seemed kind of.
Isn't that typical though? Like it's just so typical. I did not watch it. I did not watch it, which I should, because that sounds very interesting. Like honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. When I worked at, well, especially, who cares? When I worked at Disneyland, it was like the people that I worked with, like they didn't fully understand Instagram or social media in general. And because like if somebody has an Instagram or somebody has a Facebook, they're like, oh, well, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. And any place that I've actually worked that where I was working with social or anything, like because they had an account, they understood how it worked. And I was like, dude, okay. Yes, you can upload a picture and a video, but how are you going to get people to look at it?
It's just like,
It's so much more than that. And people don't
no.
understand that.
Yeah. It's like, do you know what you're talking about? Do you
No,
know how this works?
no.
No,
And they're
you don't.
directors and it's scary. Like, what? Okay,
You don't know how
that's
to work.
great.
You don't know how to work stuff. It's
Yeah.
scary.
I'm so glad I don't have to be polite like that anymore. I'm like, because that was the hardest, not really the hardest part, but once I stopped working,
Mm-hmm.
thinking about, I was like, I have, because when I was like furloughed and everything, I was like, I have too much of an attitude now. I just don't even care anymore. Like, I
Me.
cannot be nice about this. Like, sorry, you're stupid. Like, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say to you.
Oh my God. Me. 100% of the time, me.
Because like
I will
before I
call
could have a
you out.
filter and I would just be smiling. I'm like, this person is so stupid. But then that would come out now. Like, this person is so stupid. Like, it's okay. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Me. 100%.
Oh.
And Hooch and everyone else will agree with you if you ask. Will agree with me if you ask.
Oh, I mean, it's better to be like that, honestly. Like I had one manager, she, if you did not worship the ground that she walked on
Mhm.
and like act like she was the gift to humanity, you were like, you were nothing to her. It was, yeah. One time she asked me to watch her cats.
Mhm.
And like I lived really far from where I worked because this is before I had just moved back from California and my husband worked far from Disney.
Mhm.
So like I had like a 45-minute commute to and from work and with traffic it was like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours to get home. So I was like, I can't, like, I have to get home. And after that, she was just so mean to me because I wouldn't watch her cats. And I was just an intern at the time. And how dare I have the time to do anything else? I'm like, dude, like that was the problem is I was getting my master's degree. So I was like
Mhm.
an old intern. Like I was like an old intern. So I had a life and like they didn't like that. They didn't like that
Like,
at all.
no.
No, because they wanted you to be like, you're like, oh, yes, yes, oh, yes, I will do that for you. And it's like, sorry, outside of work, I can't. Like, I'm here for these hours. This is what I can give
Yeah.
you. I'm working hard. I'm working my butt off. If it's not good enough, I'm sorry. And she literally punished me because I didn't watch her cats for her while she was out of town.
I do. It's like I do what I can, and if you don't like that, then
But like, why am I getting punished at work for like something and like,
that doesn't make sense to me. No.
yeah, she wasn't a good leader.
No.
Not at all. And that's the thing that's so hard. It's like, you can have the most, and I know you probably heard this from Patrick a million times. You can have the most amazing job on the entire planet, but you have one bad leader and it can just mess up everything. And I mean, that's true anywhere,
Yeah.
it's just true anywhere.
Yeah.
But there are people who just like take their lives too seriously. And she was one of those people where it was like based off of your hierarchy at the company, that's how she would treat you in real life.
Mm.
So like she was a senior manager. So if you were not a senior manager or a director or higher, like she would give you like almost zero respect. Yeah.
That's
And she's been there for
ridiculous.
almost 20 years now, So it's like, well, if they're going to let her get away with it.
Um. So how like I don't know if I already asked you this, but like when you were working with the company with the Disney company, how was it like like how was it in like that respect of like how they treated you and stuff?
Well, I mean, I was there for a while. So I came down to Florida in 2013 to do the Disney College program. And I did that. I stayed, went seasonal, part-time, full-time. And then I went back to school to get my master's degree. And that's when I interned at Universal.
Mm.
But I also worked at Universal in operations for a while. But then I moved out to California and I worked at Disneyland as an intern. And that experience versus any experience that I had at Walt Disney World was fantastic. I will say I loved my job. I loved the people that I worked with at Disneyland. And if I could have afforded to stay in California, I would have in a heartbeat because it was just that wonderful to work at Disneyland. Um, People were just so encouraging and they wanted you to succeed. They wanted to help you in your career. They wanted you to stay. Like it was like they were building you up to stay forever because that's what it was. Like people, and it's kind of crazy too because the people in Disneyland, like almost every person that I worked with was from California. Like they all like were born and raised in California. And then at Walt Disney World, it's the complete opposite. Nobody is from Florida. Everybody comes from somewhere else or some comes from a different state. So that aspect was always kind of like, I feel like they always felt like they had to prove themselves to somebody and show that they were the boss and show that they were better. Whereas Disneyland, it was like, we are all in, like, no pun intended, but we are all in this together. We need to support each other. We're going to build each other up. We have each other's backs. And because I had worked in operations at Walt Disney World, I didn't understand that that's how like the office work was in Walt Disney World. So I just assumed it was going to be like Disneyland. So I told my husband, I got an internship at Walt Disney World. Like we're going to like go back to Florida. Right. And he literally got a job offer. He wasn't at Disney at the time, but he literally got a job offer the same time that my internship was starting. So like we literally were able to move back at the same time. And it was great at first, but within the first week, I could tell that it was different.
Yeah.
There wasn't support. Like when I was like, because I was saying, I'm like, yeah, this, like I was, my gosh, 2000, what year was that? 2000 something. I don't know. But I was like in my late 20s, right? Like I was wanting to start a family, wanting to have kids. Like that's where I was in my life. I had been married for a few years. So I promised my husband, I am going to network. I'm going to work my butt off to find people. So when this internship is done, I will have a job offer in my hands. That is what I told him. And I told him that. And I worked my butt off in that internship. One of my managers went out on maternity leave and I was getting there at 7:30 in the morning and leaving at 6 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday. And I like had no life outside of it because I was just so committed to showing them that I was amazing and that I was like built for this and I can do this and I can handle it. And whenever I tried to do like a meet and greet with somebody, that team always blocked me. And if you like look at like the internships and like the college programs, so like it tells you that there are networking opportunities and they want you to succeed and they want you to stay at the company. And I was really floored by that because it was the opposite of what I came from. Like at Disneyland, my desk was directly outside the vice president of communications office and the director of communications office. And then the SVP of communications would come down all the time. I worked closely with all of the directors on like the public affairs team and the public relations team. I freaking launched Josh D'Amaro's Instagram account. Like everybody knew me there. But when I came back to Walt Disney World as an intern, they literally stuck me in a corner and wouldn't talk to me for days.
What?
Yeah. So like there are people that I worked with that like never met me, never heard of me, never knew I existed because they literally put me in a corner and like wouldn't let me talk to anybody.
Oh my God.
It was nuts. And I mean like actually, like if I try to talk to somebody, they would like try to get me in trouble for like talking to somebody. I actually ended up going out and doing my own meet and greets on my lunch breaks, which you're not supposed to do. As an intern, you're supposed to get like paid for the meet and greets. Like you're supposed to, because it's part of the internship. But I did it on my lunch breaks because they told me when I could, which was also hard because you have to try to, meet people on their lunch breaks, like, so it wasn't really easy. And I ended up getting a job offer. But unfortunately COVID happened. So then that job was canceled. So then I wasn't able to go back to work after that. But it's just like, it's crazy. The atmosphere is so different between the two.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I
so
assume
different.
it would be like,
Yeah.
I've never been to California. I've never been to Disneyland yet. But I just judging by how many times I've been to Walt Disney World, like I can already tell like it would be different because it's just not as magical as it was when I was a kid. And
Yeah, and honestly, it's crazy because like when I walk into the parks now, I can tell when it's like college program season
yeah,
because
yeah,
like they're just so excited and eager to be there, you know? And I mean, like jobs are hard. I'm not expecting somebody to be like pixie dusted all the time, but at the same time, like that's what people are paying for on their vacation.
yeah,
And that's what they expect, you know?
yeah,
But
yeah.
people do have hard days, and I'm not saying that hard days aren't, you know, a thing that you have to like work through. But at the same time, like kind of have
Right.
to there.
Yeah, yeah. Um, did so you went before like to Disney World before COVID and like did you like did you go after COVID to like kind of see like the difference?
You mean to the parks in general, like
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
guest?
yeah, as a guest.
Yeah. Yeah. And it has very much been different. I wouldn't necessarily say in like a bad way. It's just different, right?
Yeah.
It's just different. But it also is different for me now too, because I do have a son with special needs. So like when we go there, like the first thing we have to do is go to guest relations and get him a pass and things like that. So I will say typically now that I have him, people are much kinder and understanding.
Yeah.
But like when it was just like me and my husband, it's kind of like meh. But it's also different when you go in as a cast member versus like as an annual pass holder or as like
Yeah.
like a full-on paying guest. If
Right.
they see any type of pass like that, you are getting treated differently.
Yeah. Um, but I think I asked Patrick the same question, like, because it's obvious, at least from my experience, because I went before COVID, but then I went after, and it was like completely different to me. Not in, at least from my experience, not in a good way. Like I just felt
Yeah.
really weird, and it's like felt too different. Like with the like you needed to wear masks and like
Yeah.
reservations. Like it just kind of was not as great, and it seemed like the company kind of fell apart.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the issues too came from like displaced cast members
Mhm.
because you had people who like were able to stay at the company, but they were being put in different departments. So then it was a lot of people who like weren't trained properly at the locations because they knew that they would like not that the person that was working in that position knew that they'd be going back to their old position, but it was like leaders
Mhm.
knew that they would be going back to their old position, so they didn't invest enough
Mhm.
in them to make sure that they'd be successful in their like displaced location.
Mhm. Right. Right. Because I know that Patrick had told me like um he left. I think he left like right before COVID, or like after COVID. I can't
I
remember.
think it was right before. Yeah,
Right
because I
before
think he was a
COVID.
flight attendant right before. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right before COVID. And like he's like, I just had to get out of there. It was just like not fun for me anymore.
Yeah, when I left, they had just started changing like all of the meet and greet locations. When I
Mhm.
left operations, they had just started changing all the meet and greet locations to like be like, especially indoor locations. I think the sets became like an hour and a half, an hour to 45 minutes.
Mhm.
And before it was like you had an hour on, hour off. And then it was like an hour and 45 minutes with like a 15-minute break. And it's a lot mentally,
Yeah.
right? It's a lot mentally to be somebody else
Yeah.
for an hour and 45 minutes
Yeah.
and not be able to shut it off and only get 15 minutes to flip a switch and then flip it back on. Because
Yeah.
that's like what, like you get undressed, you get to sit for 5 minutes and then you have to get dressed again. Like it's a lot to have to switch on a different persona
Yeah.
and be the magic that every guest wants you to be. And I think that a lot of that is unappreciated by people who sit in offices and make these decisions because they don't see the value of those positions. They don't see the value in the magic that the characters are creating for the people in the parks,
Mhm.
right? All they see is the numbers and how many people came through in an hour.
Well, not even just in the parks in general, but Disney as a company too. They seem to be dropping the ball on a lot of things. Like some of the movies that they're doing, kind of like, yeah.
I haven't seen Wish yet, so I haven't seen that one yet.
I haven't seen that one either yet. It looks really good.
Yeah,
But
it kind of feels nostalgic. I heard a lot of people say it was like that.
yeah. But Turning Red and then like Inside Out and then like some of the live action movies that they've done, they've kind of dropped the ball on like live actions.
So yeah, so I did an activity packet for the one and only Ivan, right? That was one
Mhm.
of the last things that I worked on. That and the Jungle Cruise one. The Jungle Cruise one they never made, like they never made the book for it, but the one and
Mhm.
only Ivan they did. And I remember just trying to watch that movie. It was only on Disney Plus,
Mhm.
and I just couldn't even get into it.
Mm-mm.
Have you watched that one?
No.
Oh my
Mm-mm.
gosh, within like 5 minutes, I was like, I don't think I can.
I loved the Jungle Cruise. I loved it.
Oh, I
Like
loved that.
I
Yeah.
love The Rock. I like he's
Yeah.
perfect. He's
I'm with
perfect.
you. I'm with you. Actually, it was really cool because they actually let me read the script
Yeah.
before the movie came out because we were like doing the packet for it. So like I
Mhm.
got to read the script and I was just like, this is gonna be really cool. Like I could just
Mhm.
like tell it was gonna be like what like kind of like the Mummy
Mhm. Yeah.
mixed with like Indiana Jones. Like I was like, this
Yeah.
is perfect. And yeah, no,
Yeah.
I loved that movie.
Little Mermaid was okay. I will just say it was okay.
See, again, I only watched like 7 minutes of it and I just could not get into it. It was like the underwater stuff was just
Yeah.
like the CGI was, I didn't think the best. But
Mm-mm.
also like I think I have like a little fear of water and like animals in the water. Like it kind of freaks me out a little bit. It's like one of those things where it's like if I see a shark movie, I can't go to the bathroom for a long time because there's water in there. And clearly, there's going to
Yeah,
be a shark in the toilet, that's where my brain goes, right? No.
clearly.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I don't think a shark would fit in the toilet,
I
but
know, but my brain, it's just like that that's just like there's water there. Like I think I have a bit of a phobia when it comes to ocean life.
yeah. Well, yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, well, thank God you only watched 7 minutes of it because there's a scuttlebutt song. I don't know if you heard it.
I heard it, yeah. Or at least part of it. I heard part of it, yeah.
It's stupid as all hell. Like I love Manuel Miranda, but bro dropped the ball on that.
Oh
Like
no.
bro, literally, kill me now.
That sounds awful. Yeah, and that's really disappointing because, like, okay, I'm clearly biased with the Beauty and the Beast movie. I thought that one was just I thought it was done so well.
It
And the
was
Beast
beautiful.
additional song, Evermore, is like still, I cannot listen to that song without crying.
The Broadway musical, of
It's
course.
beautiful. It's
Yeah.
so good. But I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully that the
I don't
new
know.
lineups are going to be good that are
I
coming out.
I have no hope for Snow White. I have no hope.
Oh no, not at all. Which
I
is really
have
disappointing
no
because she
hope.
was my favorite princess when I was little. Like when I
Yeah.
went to Disney World when I was like 5, I don't know how old I was, but I was like, I literally begged my parents to get me a Snow White dress. I
Mhm.
loved Snow White. No, that movie is going to be terrible. The PR for it has been even worse. I'm like, how are they even still doing this?
You're letting her literally crap on the original. Like, what
Yeah,
the fuck, dude?
yep, yep. And then it's like, I oh, I have so many feelings about it, especially coming from like a person who like worked in public affairs, right?
Yeah.
Because this is more like a public affairs issue than public relations.
Yeah.
Because it's like your person is directly talking negatively about this. That's the thing that I think was shocking for me to understand is like so Disney has public affairs and public relations.
Mm,
And how it was explained to me was public relations is the fun stuff.
mm.
It's the fun stuff. You deal with all the fun stuff and all the new stuff that's coming. Public affairs is all the bad stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. It was
I
really
get
hard
that.
because when I was there, I had to deal with all the Bernie Sanders stuff.
Oof.
And it was like every morning I'd get in and I'd have to go through and listen to all the radio broadcasts. And then I'd have to be emailing all these DJs and all these things in the morning and like figuring out like all these things. And then I had to find like if there was something that the director heard on the radio and she couldn't remember the exact radio station, but they said this, then I had to figure out which radio station said it. Then I had to hunt down like who said it. Then I had to hunt down the contact information of who said it so we could message that person so they could do a correction later on. It was bonkers bananas.
That seems like a headache and a half.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Cause it really was like, I mean, let's be real. Bernie Sanders was straight up attacking Disney and Bob Iger. This was 2018. Yeah. 2018 when this was happening.
That's so weird. I don't remember that.
Oh
That's
my
so
gosh. Well,
weird.
it was at Disneyland and like Disneyland is it was so crazy. So I don't know if things are going to be changing now since like the Reedy Creek issue that's happening at Walt Disney World, but at Disneyland, they're built into the city, right? And the city is built around them. And they don't like own the city of Anaheim. And truthfully, they did at the time, I don't know if it's changed, it's been years, but at the time they did not have a good relationship with the city of Anaheim. So like the mayor of Anaheim was very much anti-Disney and didn't like anything that Disney did. And like I believe that was like Josh D'Amaro came in and was trying so hard to salvage that relationship and make sure that things were working and hear him out and but like the hotel that they were going to build out there and then that got shut down. And then they lost something else that they were going to do there too. But that was the crazy thing to me because like Walt Disney World, it's like, oh, you want to do this? Okay, here. Oh, you want to do this? Okay, here. Like it was like, oh, you want to do this? Okay, here. Because like Florida's, well, then things have changed a little bit too since then. But like it was always like Florida saw the benefit of the largest employer in the state, right? Again, things have changed. But at like Disneyland, it was just like Disneyland could not do anything in the city of Anaheim because the city of Anaheim like hated Disneyland. It was crazy. And I'm like, the city of Anaheim wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Disneyland. Like,
it's in Anaheim, so I don't.
yeah. And like, literally, like, there was nothing there. It was like an orange grove before, and then the city built around it. So, like, it's really crazy.
Walt Disney saw a dream and he pursued it.
I know. It's actually really cool in the parking lot. So like in the parking lot of like where the cast members go into work where they have like their office buildings and stuff, which it's just back off of Toontown at Disneyland. So if you walk through like this door through Toontown, then there's this office building. On the other side of the office building where the parking lot is, there's this little house, and that little house is where like the people lived in the orange grove before. So they still kept that little house and it's just chilling in the parking lot.
I'll tell you one thing though. Why don't we have Toontown? I want Toontown in Florida. Like,
oh, I know. It kind of makes me sad that they tore it down. Like you couldn't fix it.
Right.
You couldn't fix it and make it prettier.
Wait. We had Toontown?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We had Toontown?
Yeah. That's where New Fantasyland is.
Oh, now I'm mad. Now I'm mad.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I like have pictures from my childhood of like me at Minnie Mouse's house.
I'm so mad now. I never even knew that.
Yeah, New Fantasyland took over that entire land.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, I'm mad. I'm so pissed off
now. I know, but like why couldn't they make it prettier? Like they could have just fixed it,
Yeah.
Instead of just tearing it. Granted, I love Enchanted Tales of Belle. And I love the Little Mermaid ride, so I can't I'm not taking away from the fact that I love those things.
Yeah.
But it's hard because it's like that's Mickey Mouse's house.
They could add it into Fantasyland. They could build Fantasyland, have Fantasyland, but then like add another section to where that's Toontown.
Or they could have just done it where Tron is. That could have been New Fantasyland.
Yeah, Tron. I'm gonna be biased. Tron. I don't think Tron should have existed.
Not here.
Not in Fantasyland.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's fine. Where is it in Japan? Is that correct? Is that where it is? The original one? Shanghai?
I think so.
I don't really know. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's in one of those.
Yeah.
But I feel like and I get like I think they're doing like new movies or something, but it's just
Yeah.
even like, okay, no offense. I don't want to offend anybody, but Avatar.
Yep.
Like Avatar was created so long ago.
Mhm.
Why are we going to revive something when like we could just do something now?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Same with, well, I wasn't say same with Star Wars, the Star Wars land, but
I feel like at least that one has spanned multiple generations, you
yeah,
know, like at
and they're
least
still making more Star Wars.
yeah, like
Yeah.
at least Star Wars has stood the test of time.
Mhm. Well,
Avatar not so much.
well, I mean, they did just make the second Avatar, so I guess
Oh yeah.
the
See,
Way
I
of
forgot
Water.
about that.
Yeah, the Way of Water, which I haven't watched yet.
Well, okay. Well then okay, I can get on board with that now.
Yeah, which
See, but I even forgot that that existed. Yikes.
like, although I am biased here because I don't really like it. I never liked Avatar.
It kind of scares me a little bit. You know,
Scary.
just the whole concept. It's freaky.
They look a little pretty. They look kind of scary.
Yeah, and then like what you go to sleep and you wake up in an alien body. I think I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I did go on the Navi River journey though. That was beautiful. I
Oh my
love that
gosh.
ride.
Yeah, my favorite part has been like the little like frog aliens are leaping on
Yeah,
the leaves above your head. I think
yeah,
it's beautiful.
yeah.
My 2-year-old Maximus, he
Mhm,
is terrified of the shaman.
mhm.
He did not like her. Like the one at the singing at the end, he was
Yeah,
petrified of her.
she's
A
yeah,
little too lifelike.
yeah. I could see that. I could see
Yeah,
that
a little too
actually.
lifelike. He did not like her at all. It terrified him.
If they ever decide to do meet and greets there, please, Disney, if you're listening to this podcast, please do not create avatars and then like have them in the park. Please,
Oh my gosh, that'd be so scary.
that'd be terrifying.
I would be afraid of that, especially if they did it like a robot. I'm not
Mm-mm.
here for it. They would take
No,
over the earth. I
no,
have zero doubts.
mm-mm. Nope. Mm-mm.
Zero doubts they would take over the earth.
Or like the guy. I've seen some videos of like every once in a while there's like the guys and like the big like giant like robot thing suit
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Like
Like
they're
don't
like they're harvesting.
yeah, like that's fun. That's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
But don't make avatars. Like
No.
don't dress people up in avatars and have them meet people
I feel
because
like this is just pure speculation, but I feel like somebody was trying to do that somewhere, and that's why they were like, no, 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 let's just do the robot guy.
let's just do the robot dude.
Yeah, because I feel like that was just never going to be how are they going to do that, you know?
Right.
Between
Like
like the
let's
long arms, the long fingers, like there's just so oh,
let's
oh,
just
they kind
do
of freak
the
me out.
exactly. Like let's just do the Optimus Prime looking dude.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm okay with that Optimus Prime guy. Like he's fine. It's not scary.
That's scary. It's just a guy in a suit.
Yeah, exactly.
You
You
can
can
see the
see
guy.
him. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can see him.
He just has like a robot thing strapped onto him. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, that's cool. Don't really
Except
understand it, but it's fine.
I don't think anybody will ever understands that. No one's ever going to
A
understand
lot of
that.
their decisions I just don't understand. But
No,
that's not my job to understand. No.
I'm making it my job to understand. I don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's like what you do. That's what you enjoy, you know?
All the research, all the research, all the you know countless websites I looked into, like the math ain't mathin'. I'm sorry, the math ain't
No.
mathin'.
No. No. That's a lot of things though there. I feel like that's just a lot of untapped
Mm-mm.
curiosity there.
And like at first I didn't agree with Hooch and LaBelle and everyone in our Disney group, but now I'm kind of agreeing of like, why are we making a villain's land?
Why are we making a villain's land? Like, I'm just gonna be real with you. Okay. Just gonna be real with you. Okay, let's be real. When I worked at Universal, all right, I was on the public relations team as an intern, right? And I remember going to a town hall with like all of public relations, marketing, communications. And the director, like my director of public relations, was like the MC or whatever. And he was explaining like this is before Star Wars opened. And he was explaining like, oh, Star Wars is opening. So we really have to leverage like our things. And, there's this princess stuff happening and we have to leverage our princesses and stuff like competing with Disney, right? There was a slide that was behind his head, okay? And it was Mickey Mouse's head with a big like no slash through it. Like they did 45 minutes of that town hall talking about how they needed to compete with just Disney instead of focusing on like their things and focusing on what they needed to focus on. It was like, and that's the other thing. It was a town hall to talk about like the achievements of like the teams and stuff, but then like literally bashed Disney for 45 minutes.
What
And
the
like I
heck?
remember it was so weird. And I remember like one of the specialists on the public relations team, she leaned over to me and she's like, so like I'm really excited for Star Wars to open and like I'm getting really offended by this. And like she was like salaried, so like she's getting offended by it. And like
Yeah.
she works at Universal in this capacity. Like a lot of those people have family that works at Disney, right? And it was just
Yeah.
really, really uncomfortable.
Mhm.
But what's happening at Universal? They're building a whole new like a whole new park,
Yeah.
right? Right now they're building a whole new park and they're going to have like the monsters.
Universal Monsters I'm excited for.
Yeah.
That needed to happen a
Exactly.
long time
But I
ago.
feel like Disney's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Crap. They're opening up a whole new park. We do not have the space, the capacity, the funding to open up a whole new park.
Mhm.
What are we going to do that's going to compete with that? And they're like, well, we have villains. Bam, villains. I feel like that's what happened. Is like the whole thing is just competing with, because I mean, like, look at Hollywood Studios. Why does Hollywood Studios exist?
Yeah.
Because Universal Studios was opening and they rushed to make that park.
Yeah.
To compete with them, So it's a lot of that's the thing that was, and I get you have to watch your competitors, right? But I feel like when you do it as hard as they do, they lose sight of their product and their value and their meaning because they're so focused on trying to compete with everybody else. And like truly, again, I'm just a stay-at-home mom now, right? So like what does my opinion matter? But when you like are so focused on what's over here, you lose focus on what's right here.
Right. And then also in my perspective of this villains land at Disney, a lot of kids are like afraid of the villains. And so not a lot of people are gonna go visit this park because their kids are afraid.
I won't be taking my son.
Yeah.
He's autistic. Like he's 2, so like he already is going to have a hard time between what's real and what's not real.
Mhm.
But he has a hard time understanding that in general because he is autistic.
Mhm.
And I know that would traumatize him.
Yeah.
There are a lot of rides I can't take him on anymore because he does get scared.
Mhm.
Like he actually was tall enough to ride the ET ride.
Mhm.
This last time we went to Universal, he was petrified. Like the poor guy, oh, I about cried. I was like holding on to him so tightly while he's like on this bike. He's like shaking in fear. I was like, this poor kid's gonna have a heart attack. And I was like, where's the e-stop button? Get us off of here. Like it was awful. So like he sees it all and he sees it as real.
Mhm.
And like I feel, and I know it's villains and stuff, but like a lot of guests aren't gonna really understand that these things might be scary to kids.
Yeah. And I get it.
Because
And I get it because like they're Disney villains. That doesn't make it any less scary.
yeah, well, I mean, they also might be under the notion that it's like, well, it's Disney. It can't be that scary,
Yeah.
Because I remember they did, what was that, like the villains night that they did many, many, many years ago at Hollywood Studios, and it was crazy. This was like before it was the hard ticket event. And like it was just a bunch of villains walking around. But like I don't think a bunch of villains walking around is necessarily scary.
Right.
Right? Because I mean it's like, okay, it's Hollywood Studios. It's Hollywood Studios. Nothing changes there. But like the atmosphere, I just feel like because it's going to be at Magic Kingdom, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't feel like that's the place for it.
Mm-mm.
I feel like that is a place for like Hollywood Studios would be a place for it, but it is not a place for it at Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is magic. Like it's supposed to be for like the 4 and 5 year old little kids.
Yeah.
Like that's who it's for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really excited though getting back to Universal, like I am excited for Universal Monsters.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah.
I
And
heard
I'm not a big like monster fan, but like
Mm-mm.
classic monsters,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. Because I heard that they're gonna have like the wheel, the what they called, like in Frankenstein,
Oh,
the
really?
wheel, the wheel,
Yeah, yeah.
um and I really hope at night they catch it on fire like in the
That
movie.
would be cool. Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, because that'd be fucking sick.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah, that would be
sick.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with monsters like that.
Yeah.
But again, you expect it. Like that's the other thing too, like Universal is more so for like an older crowd.
Yeah.
Like when I can list out all the rides that my son can ride there at Universal and Islands of Adventure, there's like 3 rides. It's not built for kids his age, you know? It's not built for that. Magic Kingdom is legitimately built for kids like that.
No, right, exactly. Um, it's just kind of weird to me. It's so weird to me that like I'm okay with there being a villain part in Universal, but like, not Disney.
Yeah, but I think it
Weird.
again, I think it is just like the location of it. Because again,
Yeah.
I feel like at Hollywood Studios, I think it would be fine there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like a hodgepodge of things already, right? Like
Mhm.
it already is just a big park that doesn't make sense. Let's
Yeah.
be real. The whole park doesn't make sense. And they have Tower of Terror there, right?
Mhm.
Plus they have Phantasmic, which has like a whole villain component to it. So like I feel like at Hollywood Studios it would make way more sense. Magic
Yeah.
Kingdom, man, it's just like when you have when you're like one of your huge rides there is Small World.
Mhm.
Is that really the place to put it?
Well, I mean, if you when you put it like that, yeah, just now realized that. Yeah, that seems a little odd.
Yeah, and like I also feel like, and I get like they don't have enough real estate at Hollywood Studios, but at the same time, like when you go to Hollywood Studios, you either spend all day waiting in line or you spend like half the day doing nothing.
Because I forgot about It's a Small World. Like during this whole conversation, I forgot about It's a Small World. I completely forgot about it
I
because I'm
wish I
like,
could forget about Small
I
World.
don't like Small World. I hate
Man,
it.
listen, that's my son's favorite ride.
If I
There
have
was
to,
one time it shut down while we were there, and like,
yeah,
gosh, he was 18 months old, but he knew
yeah,
Small World. Like he saw the
yeah.
front of the building, he knew he was about to go on that ride. He was excited. And like he was nonverbal at that time. Like he wasn't speaking. And oh my gosh, when they were like, "Oh, it shut down, the lines closed." And we started to walk away. Like I looked at Mike and I was like, "Oh my gosh," my husband, I was like, "Oh my gosh." And like so he started to walk away and he just started screaming because we were walking away from Small World, and I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, no, we'll come back. We'll see if they'll come back later. Like it was like the worst thing. It was the worst thing.
Not a fan of Small World. If I have to hear that song
Oh my gosh. Oh
one
my
more
gosh.
time, I will jump off that boat and I will go into that water. I don't care. I will
Hey,
drown
I'm
in
pretty
that
sure
water.
somebody just did that. It's fine. Oh
Oh
gosh.
my god, I hope not. That I hope not, because then that way Disney would get sued.
No, you didn't see. Oh, well, yeah, not drowned, but somebody did jump into the water.
They did?
You didn't see this?
No.
Okay, listen,
Oh,
there's been 2 accounts of it where like there was like one family that like they got stuck on the ride and the mom
yeah,
just was done. She
yeah,
was done. So
and
she
it
took her
got
kids and took
on.
off. There was another man that like stripped down almost completely naked and was walking around the ride. Oh my gosh, you have to Google this later, please.
I will, because I
Yeah.
saw the video that Patrick posted of the family that like got off the ride and onto where the animatronics was.
Yeah, no,
But
there was a man that like literally stripped naked.
I didn't see this one.
Well,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
there. It's so there.
I need to look this up after
Yep.
this because oh my god.
Yep. That's a real thing that happened. And that's the thing, like where I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I'm so glad I don't work in public affairs anymore. I remember one of my managers, gosh, he was such a sweetheart. Um, he he was like, yeah, like his like you had to be like on call after hours, so like they would like rotate like who was dealing with what. And so like if like something happened, like literally like you'd be getting a call from security or like Orange County Police Department, like telling you, the city of Anaheim Police Department, whoever was calling, like letting you know what was going on. And like he was like, I was sitting at the movies and eating popcorn, and then I got a call, and it was like the guests were freaking out because like pigeons pooped on them. And I'm like, really? That's what we're complaining about? There was one time a couple left their kid at the Disneyland hotel in the room, and they were like 3. There was like two kids. One of them was 3, and the other one was, I don't know, like 1, I want to say. So like they're little kids and they went out to have dinner at downtown Disney right there in Disneyland, and like something happened with like the kids were fine or something, but there was just so much screaming going on that like somebody nearby called the front desk, and when the person at the front desk like went to the room, the parents were nowhere to be found, and then they couldn't get in touch with the parents. So like the police had to get involved. And it's like stories like that like you're dealing with all the time. Or like lawsuits of people like slipping on water bottles and suing the park because they slipped on a water bottle.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so much craziness.
I want to go back to Universal. I gotta go to Universal. Nothing crazy happens at Universal
That we know of.
that we know of.
That we know of. I personally think that when it comes to Disney, people are more eager to sue Disney than they are Universal because of the name.
Yeah.
Not that it doesn't happen, but I feel like people are just more apt to just go against Disney because it is Disney.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you for coming on so much.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
I
It was
really
nice to get to
appreciate
know
it.
you.
You too. And after this, if you can, stay. We could talk a little bit more about because I want to learn more about this.
Yeah.
But again, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
If you ever want to come back on, just let me know.
I got plenty to say, lots of stories.
And I'm eager to hear every single one of them.
Oh, there's lots.
Okay.
We can do a podcast with Sarah and Patrick too.
Oh, that'd be great.
All of us.
That would be so fantastic. I want to do. I'm going to text Patrick later, and I'm going to tell him about this.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining on this week's episode of the Part of Your Broadway World podcast. I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.